Good afternoon, everybody. It's straight up noon o'clock Pacific time. Welcome to my channel, it's not channel, what is it called? Facebook Live page. Hello, Extraordinary Life. And wouldn't you know, that's the same as my website. If you have not checked it out yet, go to Hello, Extraordinary Life on the landing page. Pick up your free guide. 3 steps to reprogramming your negative self-talk. Great information, just it's packed full of tips and tools and information and simple, applicable ways to begin reprogramming. Yes, that's what we're doing here, reprogramming that talk, that self-talk, self-doubt, that place that we go when we feel insecure, all that stuff. It's a beautiful book someone recreated for me, and so you can pick it up, and that will put you on my email list. You'll get all my emails, and you see some things on Facebook. Yes, you do. And you get a little bit more in email, more tips and tools, things like that. If you have not seen yet, go to Hello. I'll put the link, I think probably once it's over because I'm on my phone right now. So helloextraordinarylifecom/being-authentic. It's a 4-week free 4-week course. Being authentic. That's a little bit about what I'm talking about today is intuition, but this course is going to be 4 weeks on a Sunday beginning January the 19th from 12 till no later than 1. It'll vary. I don't really know how long exactly it's going to be. Trusting that intuitive guidance for me. And it's free. You can do it, watch it for the week. I'll take the week video down, come to the next week 2, and so on and so forth. Then at some point before then, I'm going to set it up so if you want to purchase, if you know that you want to keep this and you want to purchase the recordings, you can do that. It's going to be like cheap, $29. Yeah, so real inexpensive. Hi, Charlie. Today's conversation is about honoring our intuition. How many ways and how many times have we knew, like we just intuitively knew something, or like, oh, I should not do that, or I should do that, and then we didn't do it. We went against our own knowledge, or not knowledge, that's not what I want to say, that knowing that we know deep in our gut. And this happened again recently, and what I became very present to was it's all happening for me. Even if I'm not always listening, or I do something contrary to what I intuitively know, life and the universe is conspiring for me, not to me. And when I take that perspective, I get to look beyond that place I didn't listen. Or I listened and took a different action. That's usually more what it is. You listen, you know that you got that intuitive hit of, like, this particular situation was a woman I've known for a very long time, over 20 years. And our relationship is one that I created in the beginning, that I was always there for her. Then we weren't in relationship consistently, once a year, maybe every 2 years, maybe I would hear from her when her life was falling apart. The last time I heard from her had been when my dad died. So that was July of 16. Prior to that, it had been probably more than a year. And I called her back and said, hey, just want you to know, my dad just died. I got nothing. I got nothing for you. I have nothing to offer. And I didn't hear from her till the end of last year when her dad reached out. So fast forward a couple months, and she's now reached out. I'm in recovery and I'm getting help. And of course, then everything in me is like, don't open the door. Just don't do it. And I said, oh, well, maybe it'll be different. Oh, God. Right? It's just like, I felt myself roll my eyes because I just knew. And now I didn't give her my phone number. I did it through Facebook, thank goodness. And it's the same story, right? It's the same story. So my intuition, let's come back to that. My intuition was, don't do it. Don't open that door. It's not any different. It has not changed. And there's that other part of me that's like, well, maybe, right? Now I'm dismissing myself when I already know the answer. And I decided to put a setting on there that said ignore. And then I had a conversation with someone today and said, maybe my happening for me, right? Maybe my gift here is to physically, verbally set the boundary and just be clean in that relationship and say, I've got nothing here. So there's always some reason when we don't listen. There's always a reason when we don't. But how many times do we dismiss it? Christmas time, everything in me's like, I don't really want to go. I don't enjoy my family. And I got the story about it. And I thought, so if minus the story that we make up, my intuition was, I don't resonate there anymore. And I still went out of obligation. And there again is that clear boundary of, this is no longer where I need to be in my life. It's my family, they're my blood, but I love them. And man, small doses, very small doses. It's really good for me. So how, I just want you to think about, how does that resonate for you? And how many times have you had a thought of someone, let's just say, oh, I should call them, and they just keep kind of floating through, and you get busy and distracted and you didn't call, and then you finally hear something or you talk to them, and there was a reason that would have been beneficial if you'd called. So these are just learning, right? This is learning how to honor that intuitive hit. That's all you can call it whatever you want. But those intuitive hits are usually the feeling you get a little prickly, or you get a stomach rolling. Hi, Stacy. You get a sense of something with that intuitive hit. So this is about honing the skill, but if you're new at learning to listen, it takes something. It takes something to develop that skill of listening to ourselves, because we're not trained to do that. We're not trained to listen to those, that, how do I want to say that? That's still, quiet, often quiet, small voice. It sounds small. It sounds quiet. It's usually that little floater that goes through. Some things are really loud, but this is the little things where we learn to really listen. And you have that thought, and let's just say you have that thought, and then something happens, and you're like, oh, I already knew that. Intuition, right? You already had that energetic place that you were aligned and knew, or you had the thought about it. I'm seeing a strange thing on my screen. It's distracted me for a second. So you already knew. So that's the evidence. We compile evidence when we begin this journey of learning to listen to ourselves and learning to trust that intuitive voice. The quieter we get internally, the quieter mind chatter gets when we do things to learn how to quiet that whole other conversation. The voice, the intuition, I thought I was getting louder. What it was is my head was getting quieter and I could hear it clearer. For some people, it's an intuition. Your intuition hit might be mine always comes from the inside. So it's usually in my head. Sometimes it's that prickle. Sometimes it's a rolling of the stomach that just, okay, so that's right. Like intuitively, that's where I need to go for the next great adventure or the lesson I need to learn or get to learn. And, oh gosh, so when we go contrary, go against our grain, go like when I opened that door to that conversation and immediately regretted it, what's the next right step to take then? That's that soul guidance. That's that getting quiet with ourselves to listen. This is another way to hone that skill. When you meditate and you're listening from deep inside of you, instead of this little chattery stuff that's always going on in our head, listen. And that's often it's not smaller, it's quieter. It seems quieter. But it's very clear. Here's the ways to know that it is. It's very clear. It's usually very kind. Sometimes it might be it might feel a little abstract. Why would I do that? Or why would I need to go take a nap? Or why would I need to rest or go for a walk? Sometimes that's that intuition telling you this is what you need to do. This is what's in your highest and best good to take care of yourself. So getting quiet and meditating, and it takes practice to quiet the mind. So listening to guided meditations is very helpful to quiet that mind. Have some kind of music or to do a mantra, because sometimes it doesn't come during the meditation. Sometimes that intuition or that answer that is your intuition will come later. Sometimes it'll come from someone else. Sometimes that's just how the universe conspires to help us, is to speak through others too. Sometimes that's that confirms our intuition. And if you keep hearing that same message that you already got, then it's definitely that track, right? So that's just learning how to become mindful and pay attention to ourselves. Pay attention to that quieter side. When it's our head talking, then it's I dismissed it. Oh, it'll be different this time, right? Clear indicator, different. I'm dismissing it. So there's certain language that our mind and our ego generally uses. Learning to discern that, be discerning, and learning what your mind tells you. What's the conversation? Gotta be clear on my glasses. What's the conversation that your mind usually generates? The story it's always telling or always spinning, because it's often abrasive, harsh attitude. That's our ego speaking to us, right? When it's our intuition, I call them floater thoughts. It's that thought that just kind of floats through and then it moves out of your head. It's that something in the background that's, you hear it and you get a little glimpse of it or a sense of it, but you can't quite, and then it's gone. And then that thing happens. And some things are really loud. Let's just say when you're driving and you get something loud that tells you to go a different way than you would normally go. Maybe it's to avoid something. There's an accident, something like that. Those are real loud things. Doing things to facilitate. Like we go to the gym to work out. We're facilitating an environment and activity to build the muscle of our body or to lose the fat of our body, whatever that is. We're incorporating something into our life to make that happen. Same thing with our intuition. It's good to incorporate the things that help you become clear, help you move the energy that kind of gets stagnant in our body. Walking, exercising, meditating, praying. Sometimes it's a simple going out and putting your feet barefoot on the earth and allowing your body and your energy to get aligned with the earth. Sometimes it's that simple. Sometimes it's hugging a tree. For some of us, it's super clear. For others of us, that 5% of the time, as we've continued to grow, those are the times to start to incorporate more of the things that help you to hear clearer. And not only hear, but then to take the action instead of dismissing it or telling the same story, right? For me, that was the same story. It's the same story I've told. I can't even tell you how many times. How many of you done the same story? Oh, it'll be different this time. Oh, it's not that bad. Oh, it'll be okay. It's not. It's not this is not a horrific event, but it's one more place that I didn't listen. So I'm just inviting you to consider how many of that, what's that 5% for you? And it's often those small things that we dismiss or we weave the same story when one of the tools is to just get quiet with yourself. If you're going to take the action, oh, it won't be that bad, or it's okay, or it'll be different this time, then pause, right? Just step back and really consider that and meditate on it, or go for a walk until the answer is clear, right? It was clear to me. It was clear. I feel ridiculous. I felt quite ridiculous to even talk about it because I should know better, right? Well, I don't always. I did, and I still did it. So that's where this conversation came out of, was I still did it. That's that 5% of the time that my world didn't end, and it's just uncomfortable, and it's somewhat embarrassing to go, oh, here I am teaching this, and I'm still doing that 5% of the time. That's part of being human. It's just being human, and it's not good or bad or right or wrong. It's just what's so. Then taking that lesson and the gift, this is what helps me, is to share it with you and talk about it, to keep developing my own skills, and you get to develop your skills. That keeps me going, keeps me moving forward, and holds me more accountable, actually. Another thing just popped in my head is that when I'm not sure, or when I'm doubting or dismissing, when you're not sure, ask somebody. Run it by somebody that you know and that you trust, that knows you and knows your story and knows what you do to yourself, because obviously many of us do this. Then they might have a different perspective that will either confirm or not what is in your best interest. What else do I want to say about that? Are there any questions or insights? I'm not seeing any comments here yet. 2 comments. There's a wave and a hello. Certain you're on your phones or at work. I could probably ramble on, but I don't know if I want to. I think I've covered what I needed to cover about intuition. Let me wrap back around to when we begin this journey and continue to fine tune it. That's all it is. That's all we're doing, is fine tuning. When we begin, some things are just so incredibly obvious. Then we get to learn how to continue stepping in. And for a long time, what that looked like was I always asked for confirmation, or I always sought out confirmation or evidence or validation, because I didn't trust myself and I didn't trust my own intuition, because the voice in my head is the same. It's not something out here whispering in my ear. It's always the voice in my head. Learning to be discerning on what it sounds like. It's a different cadence, it's a different resonance from intuition to that ego chatter. When we're beginning to learn how to really listen and trust that, get evidence. And then at some point, your intuition's going to tell you, it's time to stop. I got this a few times. It's time to stop seeking the evidence. It's time to stop asking for their approval. Try to stop. Yes, I know you're in the middle of your day, and I appreciate you being here. You could always comment after. Later, if you think of something, you can comment and I will come back and we could have a dialogue that way too. Sometimes, so the universe conspires to help us grow, learn. It's happening for us, right? Sometimes things start happening when it's time to leave situations. So another thing I've been doing, another thing that I will offer you that you can begin is to listen for. I listen to myself when I start to talk, tell somebody something. I'm like, oh, dang it, there's the same story I'm spinning. I'm telling the same story. It's indication to begin shifting the beliefs. Because the more I start to shift the beliefs and create what's really true about me, the what's the word I want? I heard bigger and louder, and I'm not sure those are really the intuition becomes that when we begin to speak and write the truth about ourselves. Because all that other chatter is not that. So that's one more thing you can do for yourself, is to begin listening to the story that you tell and feeling what it feels like. Sometimes it's about, so in this situation, it was about sensing the energy of the other person to confirm whether I needed to go there and open that door or not. I didn't listen. And I did do that. Oh, it'll be different. And I had another situation where I didn't do that. So it's kind of interesting, the dynamic, where sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. So just to do a pulse, energetic, then that comes in a meditative place, like sit quietly and just sense that person, right? Just like put some energetic feelers out there where you can sense the other person, because that will confirm or deny whether it was going to be different or not, like whether she's changed or not. What I could sense is that she hadn't really, even though my mind said, oh, well, maybe it'll be different. So it's another way to do that. And that's just practice. Everything I talk about, everything I share is been practice to develop the skill, because I've done it, you've done it, we've all done it so long one way or this way. And then we begin to figure out that it's not as effective as it could be. So we practice and we start doing other things. That's all it is. That's why some of the conversations are maybe the same topic and said a different way, because that helps us to continue growing and honing the skills. We never get done. That's part of this human experience, is we're never done. And that's all. It's all good. That's okay that it's not done. That's what we came here to do. Because the more we change our story, shift our beliefs, trust our intuition, honor the intuition. So I can trust it all day long, but when I dishonor it, then I'm just like a little bit off track. And then it eats at me, because I keep giving it energy and time and space. But the more we do that, and the more we build our muscles, build the spiritual, intuitive muscles. What are we here to do? We're here to shine our light in this world and be a light for other people. That's what we're here to do. And the more we do that, then the more we give them permission. So I'll stop there with that conversation. So if you haven't seen it yet, check out the helloextraordinarylife.com/being-authentic. That's the 4-week free course beginning next Sunday, the 19th, January 19th, for 4 weeks. They are recorded. They'll stay in the group, but it is a closed group. So you got to get in that closed group so you can be part of it. Make it a great week. Oh, and the other thing, the 25th of January, it's a couple dates. One is for the Being Authentic. If you're in the Lincoln area and you would like to do a vision board, I will be hosting a vision board workshop on the 25th. It's a Saturday afternoon. So let me know about that. Give me a reply here or shoot me an email that you're interested, because that's going to determine where I actually host it, is how many people I get. All right. Make it a great week. And I will be here next week with you.